You know, there's you've heard of the work hustle culture of the internet, right? Essentially, encouraging men to, work as much hours as possible, man. You gotta live, you gotta get the money, man. All that stuff around the internet. And I'm hearing some people on the internet, a lot of people saying, they work 12 hours a day straight. Literally do 12 hours a day on like their business or something, like 12 hours full focus, deep work. And I just wanted to express my thoughts on that. Do I believe them? Well, in terms of, having those days, I believe we all have those days in our lives where, you really just zone into whatever you're doing. And I'm sure it can be possible from time to time in your life, but in a consistent basis, absolutely not. A while back, about 3 years ago now, I read the book Deep Work by Cal Newport. And he was talking about the average time it takes for people to, well, the duration it takes someone to, focus on whatever craft they choose at a deep work level. And on average, the max amount people can do in terms of deep work tends to be about 4 hours of straight core focused deep work with no distractions, and then anything after that tends to fall into what we call shallow work, which is the opposite of deep work, so you don't have as much focus and attention in whatever craft you're trying to pursue, right? And I've seen a lot of these, successful rich entrepreneurs all over the internet, saying they have to work 12 hours, they work 12 hours every single day like of their lives. And I'm just thinking to myself, and this is also from a disciplinarian like myself. I'm not a lazy person by any means. But even I would have to say, what a fucking boring life. And that's not even to say work is bad, because you should enjoy your work. And I'm sure those entrepreneurs, they really enjoy their craft, the work that they do. But 12 hours a day? I mean, let's just assume the average person sleeps for 8 hours. So you got 20 now. And it's like, yeah, you don't really have time to do anything, don't you? And I'm primarily referring to the successful entrepreneurs. I understand for the people who aren't where they want to be yet financially. If you're talking about a 9 to 5 job sense to work 12 hours, well, you kind of have to, don't you? But from what I've watched from other content creators also, they actually don't work that much. But that doesn't mean the work isn't effective. But they work very little. And with that smaller time of work hours they spend, as I just told you, the average amount of deep work hours for an average person is about 4 hours of full focus. So let's say they work for like 2 hours. Well, in those 2 hours, they're more focused than the other guy in their 12 hours. This reminds me of me during my school days. I'd revise for like hours, like all day. And then I'd claim to say, oh, I worked 10 hours for a day, just for bragging rights. Truthfully, you probably only did about 1-2 hours of actual work. Because I was dozing off a lot of the time, eating snacks, taking breaks. So when you add it up, it's not really actual work. And I believe most of these entrepreneurs are frauds in terms of how many hours they work. And there's no shame saying that you work a lot less. So long as what you're doing, the work you're producing is valuable, it's helping your clients, your community, I truly don't see the issue with that. And I feel like everyone's falling into this trap to, just want to appear cool, keep up with the Joneses. What I'm just trying to say is be honest. Because I was adding it up and I was weighing it up. And when I, refer to entrepreneurs when I say this, just talking about the whole, work hustle culture matter. And we know a lot of successful entrepreneurs tend to hit their strides, and referring to men in particular, in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. Those are really good earning years for men, from what history entails, and just how success is as a whole. I also saw another statistic. Oh man, tongue twister. I also saw another statistic saying it takes on average 12 years to become successful on whatever field it may be. It doesn't matter the career. So an average of 12 years. So let's say someone started at age 18. They were doing it for 12 years. After 12 years of learning struggle, success struggle, just falling down the rabbit hole, he finally gets to a position when he's 30 years old, his 30s, 40s, 50s, and then he starts to hit his stride in his life and his career, which will impact his life. It's making good money, all that good stuff, But then I also looked into it. And as we know, men tend to be most attractive in their 30s, so it's only wise that, most men, they tend to choose their women in their 30s, And obviously they're gonna have those children in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, right? And you need to raise those children up. You don't want to be those shit parents. That is unfortunately the case, due to 9 to 5 jobs and whatnot. Not to say it's bad, but it does create an effect where you're not really able to spend that much time with your family because you're just working all day. And I was thinking, if an entrepreneur, no, let's refer to the adult entrepreneurs now that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s. I'm like, well, you have kids. And I believe, and I can't speak for myself yet because I haven't reached that level yet, but from what I've observed from other people's viewpoints, just consuming the entrepreneurs I look up to, they all tell you that after a certain point in your entrepreneurship career, and just in terms of earning, money is not the priority. You're already making enough money. You've set yourself free, and you hear the common saying, "What? When you make like 100k a year, it's no different to a million a year in terms of lifestyle." Yeah, I'm sure you can, be a lot more lavish. I know I kind of contradicting myself, but in terms of what you really need out of life, the materials you buy, it's like, what if you're not materialistic though? So that's why people tend to say having 100k, making 100k a year and a million a year, it's not that much different. It really isn't, because given what Andrew Tate said, there's nothing to really buy. And especially coming from someone like me who isn't a materialistic person, it's like, what's the point? And that's not to tell you to not strive for greater money. Always strive for the top. But it's just something you can keep in mind. I do believe a lot of these entrepreneurs are lying to you. They're lying when they tell you they work 12 hours daily. Now, I'm sure, like I said in the beginning, they have periods of their lives, but they make it seem as if they work 12 hours every fucking day. Get out of here. Miss me that bullshit. Because I love you guys got kids, last time I checked now. So it's like, how are you going to spend time with them? You need to spend time with them, right? Honestly, guys, there's no shame in being honest. Never forget, the whole concept work-life balance. I disagree with that, and I actually believe work is a part of your life. But that does not mean the majority of your life, in my opinion, should be spent doing your work. My view on work, I will work hard. I will work like a dog. The reason why I'm working hard now is so I put myself into a position where I'm able to help people through my words and just what I've learned in the past. As a byproduct, naturally, you give value to people, money comes to you. And now you can use that money to free more time for yourself to actually pursue the hobbies you really want. If you want to go to an orphanage, you can go to an orphanage. If you want to travel to another country, you can travel to another country. If you want to go to the ocean, you can go to the ocean. That's the whole idea of making money. To free ourselves. A lot of us guys, even women as well, but I'm saying guys because my channel is based on men. You probably have many interests, and your parents are probably like this too. It's only natural human nature, right? They probably have so many interests that they can't pursue because they're fucking stuck at a 9 to 5 job they don't even like. Now, when you're in the struggle period of your life, I do believe money should be the priority, and I'm practicing what I'm preaching right now because I'm in the struggle period and money is the priority. But it won't be forever, and I look forward for that day. So I believe I'm going to end it off by saying this because I don't want to drag things out for too long. In terms of do entrepreneurs really work 12 hours? Going back to what I said in the beginning of the video, I do believe for certain periods of their lives it can be done. But in terms of, sustainability, absolutely not. It's unhealthy. It's not healthy to become a well-rounded man. You don't want to be like those billionaires, all they do is work. I don't like talking shit about people, but sometimes people who fail at something should be used as an example for us what not to be. Let's look at Elon Musk. I remember there was a picture of him a few years ago. He had his physique in the pool. He looked awful. His skin was dirty. That's because he's working all day. I do believe people like him work 12 hours a day. But it's like, come on, guys, if we're really being honest, they're probably somewhat like me. And you want to do more things with your life also, man, rather than just work, man. I don't know about you, but I want to be an interesting, well-rounded person with many traits. You don't want to be that person who's a killer at work, but he can't socialize with anyone. If this is coming from an introvert, he doesn't even like talking to people. So if I'm saying that, man. But yeah, ending it off, do I believe people really work 12 hours a day? In periods of their life, perhaps. But the older you get, that shouldn't be much of a priority now. Remember, the whole reason why we started work is to live a better life. And it's just an icing on the cake that we find work that we actually enjoy. So it doesn't feel like slavery, like, oh, I have to work. Like when I come here every time 5:40 in the morning, I wake up at 5. I'd be like the day before, I'd be thinking, man, I'm so excited to record these videos because I'm genuinely doing what I love. Even though barely anyone watches me, I barely scrape like 20 views and I have over like 500 videos, 110 subscribers. I've never felt like, oh, I have to record because I'm doing what I love. How can I complain? That's my take for today. Wait, one more. And on that note, let me just tell you about my dream life. I don't mind, when I'm financially free working for 4 hours a day. I don't see the issue with that. If that's 4 hours of deep work, come on, man, that's winning. And then the other hours when you don't work, you can read, you can learn an instrument, you can learn language. You're still learning. You're just out of your career, But you still enjoy the job. But you brought yourself up to a position where you're able to do the things you've always wanted to do because you have time now for money. That's the beauty of money. It gives you time to do whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want. No one can tell you what to do, man. You're the boss. You call the shots.